Hi guys, my name is Emily. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a much requested video. You know from the title that today I'm going to talk about my thoughts on The Outsider by Stephen King. Let's go to the plot synopsis of The Dust Jacket, because I can't remember it. An 11-year-old boy's violated corpse is found in a town park. Eyewitnesses and fingerprints point unmistakably to one of Flint City's most popular citizens. He is Terry Maitland, Little League coach, English teacher, husband, and father of 2 girls. Detective Ralph Anderson, whose son Maitland once coached, orders a quick and very public arrest. The case seems ironclad, especially when Anderson and the district attorney are able to add DNA evidence to go with fingerprints and witnesses. But Maitland has an alibi, and it turns out his story has incontrovertible evidence of its own. How can 2 opposing stories be true? What happens to a family when an accusation of this magnitude is delivered? When must reason or rationality be abandoned in order to explain the inexplainable? So initially, when I first rated this, I gave this book 4 to 5 stars on experience. 3 days later, when I went to film the review and I realized that I remembered basically nothing except that the cover was pretty, I liked Holly, and I didn't like the ending, I was like, ugh, there's no point in filming this review. This book was actually not that great. And I ended up downgrading it to 2.5 or 2 or 2.5 stars on Goodreads. And the fact that even now, just a couple of months later, I cannot remember the plot, I had to read you The Dust Jacket, not great. Really not great. Probably a 1-star read at this point. Like, the more I think about it and the more time goes by, the less good it gets. Let's talk about the things that I liked. I love, spoiler, that Holly from the Mr. Mercedes books, the Bill Hodges trilogies, hijacked the story. Thing number 2 that I liked, the summery atmosphere. It did very much feel like a summer appropriate read, and I read it in the summer. Thing number 3 that I liked, the idea of having an unsettling, evil double. Thing number 4 that I liked was the comfort of returning to King's narration. There's just something very homey and comforting about returning to a voice. Like, King has a very distinctive voice, and like, you definitely know you're reading Stephen King when you pick up a Stephen King novel. And number 5, the last thing I liked about this book, is the cover design. I think the cover design is stunning and excellent, and it's really unfortunate that I liked very little else about it, because I would love to display this, but then people are gonna be like, oh, you like that book. You like that book a lot, evidently, because you faced it. That leads me to the things I disliked. Thing number 1, the book felt really disjointed. Something about real crime in 2018 plus an ancient child-raping monster, I just couldn't make work in my brain. I just never bought into the narrative. So thing number 2 that I disliked kind of plays off the thing that I loved the most, and that's Holly. So as a reader who's read the Bill Hodges trilogy, I love Holly, but she's developed as a character in the Bill Hodges trilogy, and I can only imagine how jarring that would be if this is your first Stephen King, because this is the thing. There are oodles of constant readers who have been following his career for literally decades. They've read the entire body of works as it came out in publication order. And then there are people like me who started reading Stephen King in the late 90s, early 2000s, and like have slowly backpedaled, right? But I read every new release after that. I get comments all the time from people like, oh, I just picked up the new Stephen King, like I've never read a Stephen King before. I saw this in a bookshop and I know the name, so I picked it up and I'm gonna start here. And I'm like, oh, okay, good for you. But like, if this is the book that you picked up, I'm sorry. The third thing that I don't like about this book is the ending. All things considered, this is a decent sized book. The fact that the ending is like literally over faster than you can whack the candy out of a piñata, just, it didn't seem like great payoff. And that's one of my big things with Stephen King books, is that I always have an issue with the ending. My favorite Stephen King books, I love the character development. I love sinking into this world that's rich, and I love the supernatural aspects, usually right up until the ending. Very few books by Stephen King, in my opinion, out of the ones that I've read. Execute the ending in like a fully satisfying way. This is another one of those books where you can tell that the author doesn't plot. I believe that's the writing method of pantsing, as in flying by the seat of your pants. Sometimes these endings really are by the seat of the pants, and that's why we end up where we end up. Let me know your thoughts on The Outsider in the comments down below. If you liked what you saw here today, consider giving the video a thumbs up and maybe subscribing. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye!